What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How are we doing today? I am mighty fine times, and I have returned to my PC once again. We are back on the PC on Tiermaker. Today we are ranking every single mainline series Pokemon game. I have played every single game, Gens 1 through 9. So I got a lot of opinions on this stuff. You're going to hear me talk for about a solid 15 minutes about this. So everyone like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you need to do, and let's jump into some tier making. Alright, and we're starting off with probably one of my favorite games. I have to talk about this. So the first one is Diamond and Pearl. I think Diamond and Pearl came out when I was like 5 or 6, something like that. And I remember just running to GameStop. I had a couple of the trading cards. I was like, yo, there's like the god of time, the god of space. I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I gotta get the game. So I grabbed Pearl. I paid for it. Actually, my parents paid for it. And then I had so much fun. I had this little Piplup. His name was Cookie. I had your average 5-year-old team. I had like a level 70 Apollyon, and the rest of my Pokemon were just Route 1 and 2, just Route 1 and 2 stuff. I had like a level 7 Shanks and like a level 7 Starly. It was so fun. It is probably one of my, or if not my favorite. Diamond and Pearl are going in S. That's just how it is. It was my favorite game when up till like 12 years old, and that's just how it's going to go. Next thing, we got Pokemon Platinum. Now, Pokemon Platinum, just like Diamond and Pearl, it holds a special place in my heart, okay? You know, after Diamond and Pearl came out, I think it was like a year later in '08 when it came out in like '08 or '09. You got to go through the whole storyline of Sinnoh, and then you got to catch Giratina at the end, go through the Distortion World, battle Cyrus. It was honestly pretty fun. It's also going in S because, like, it was just the better version of Diamond and Pearl. Alright, next thing. We got Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I like these games. I have never played Soul Silver, but I have played Heart Gold. I really liked it. I had a really solid team. First time I played through, Feraligatr was my boy. He was like a little 50 when I ended it. I had a Feraligatr. I had a Ho-Oh. What else did I have? I don't really remember. I don't know, but it was actually really fun. This one's gonna get a solid A. I did like it. You know, going through, seeing the new gym leaders. I will say one thing: why do all the gym leaders have Gen 1 Pokemon? Like literally, the first one, he has a Pidgey and he has a Pidgeotto. Those are Gen 1 Mons. Why are they in a Gen 2 game? That was Faulkner. Yeah, wasn't that Faulkner? And then the next one's Bugsy. And Bugsy got a Scyther and a Metapod and a Kakuna. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Next one, Black and White. Black and White came out when I was like, I had to be like 10 or something. I don't remember. It was around there. I was younger. We'll just put it that way. I got Pokemon White as my first game. It was so fun. I picked Oshawott. Samurott was my dude. I had a really nice team. I remember my favorite part of that game was probably the desert where you got like Darumaka and all that stuff. Oh, it was so fun. Yeah, great storyline overall. It's gonna have to go in a solid A. I did like it. Pokemon Black and White 2. This was the last game that they actually put on the it was the last game they put on the DS. So, you know, X and Y came right afterwards on the 3DS. No biggie. But Black and White 2 were good. I remember going through the whole storyline. I used really the same team. And then I caught everything. And then at the end, you get to pick White or Black Kyurem, depending on what version you play. Pretty solid games. I did like them. I used the exact same team, the exact same storyline. Bianca would never leave me alone. So, yeah, it gets a solid B. I did like Black and White more than I liked Black and White 2. But that's how it was. All right, let's talk about this. X and Y. X and Y came out in, I think it was like 2013 or 2014. I absolutely love this game. I did have one problem though. Because the EXP share went for everyone, I only leveled up Chestnut. Like, that was the only thing I used. I caught other Pokemon, and they leveled up. But the thing is, I never used them in battle unless it was for a gym battle. So I got my level 5 Chespin, you know, in that first route or wherever when you're talking to Tierno and Trevor and all that. And then, you know, I would catch like a Fletchling. I got the fossil Pokemon. Someone else was on my team. I don't really remember. But yeah, I swept through the entire game with Chestnut. It was a really fun game, don't get me wrong. But like, the 3 or 4 times that I've played through X and Y, I got all these other team members, and I just swept through a Chestnut. Because the thing is, like, you could just go through the game with your starter. It gives you way too much XP. That's just how it is. I'm trying to think now. Who else did I have on my X and Y team? Chestnut was my grass type. Talonflame was my flying and fire type. I picked Amora. Yeah, Amora to Aurorus. Who's my water type? I honestly can't remember. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Let's talk about these. The original versions of Ruby and Sapphire, I would definitely say were better. These ones were like a solid, B tier as well. I picked up my Mudkip. Listen, you could argue with me if you want, but Mudkip is the Gen 3 Pokemon starter that carries. It's the only game, Gen 3 is the only game where no matter which one of the 3 starters you pick, you are going to be set for the game. They're all great. They all have their respective battles that they win against, but like Mudkip is just the greatest. Like, it's not even funny. I had mine. I was running Surf, Earthquake, Toxic, and Ice Beam was the 4 that I ran with it. And my dude, Swampert swept. But Omega Ruby, it was the second game they released on the 3DS. I was chill with it, but like, it's gonna have to go in a solid B tier. When you play Ruby and Sapphire as your first game, you get to see, the Sprite Mudkip and the Sprite Archie and Maxie. And, the sprite of Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza when I played Emerald. You just don't want anything else. It was just better. Alright, next, Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Let me yap about these games for a second. You're going to see a similar theme here, but I like the water starters. I think the only generation that I didn't pick a water starter in was X and Y when I chose Chespin. Sun and Moon. Let's talk about them. Probably the longest storyline games I have ever played through. The only really big difference is in Sun and Moon, or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you can actually like go through wormholes. These were the first games that they didn't have gym leaders, instead you had trials. So you pick up your Pokemon, you throw them at some totem Pokemon, and they give you a Z Crystal. I'm not gonna lie, Z Crystals were dumb. I just didn't like them. You get a special, big, move and all the things, but I didn't like them. The storyline, however, was cool. I just didn't like how they took away gyms. They had that for a straight six generations of games, and then they took it away. But still, really solid gameplay. I like the story. We got to find out a lot about Gladion, a lot about Type Null. Hop wouldn't... Oh, no, that's... Hau. Yeah, Hop was Gen 8. Hau would not leave me alone. He wanted to rival battle every 5.5 seconds. But hey, it is what it is. Sun and Moon are going to go in C. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are going to go in B. That ending to it, where you actually get to go through wormholes and, go around and go catch, I think it's like 40 Pokemon, and plus 2, they have a huge chance to be shiny. If you go so far, it's like a 30% chance. It's actually really fun, and that will take weeks of your time to just go through, have fun going through wormholes, go catch legendaries from past games, go catch shinies from past games. It's really fun. Let's talk about what's the next one. Let's go Eevee, let's go Pikachu. I got a little bit of opinions on these games. I picked up Let's Go Eevee when it first came out. I'm not gonna lie, it was an okay game. Not one of the best I've played, not one of the worst. I didn't like the new mechanics with the whole battling thing. I played Red and Blue. I played that when I was like 7 or something. I played Fire Red and Leaf Green. I love those games. And then when you showed me Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, there's no more like battling when you catch Pokemon. You just yeet the Pokeball. Not really a fan. And then the riding Pokemon too. It was cool, but it was different for me. Also too, you couldn't evolve your starter, man. I genuinely thought when I chose this, like, Let's Go Pikachu was going to be the worst version, because if you chose Eevee, you could have a Flareon, a Jolteon, or a Vaporeon on your team. No, you can't. You can't change it. It's going to go in C. I'm not going to lie. Red and Blue. Red and Blue was the OGs for Pokemon. First ever games to come out. I played Blue. I have not played a Red. I had an amazing team on Blue. I had my level 50 Blastoise. I had a Pidgeot. I had a Victory Bell. I had a Ninetales, a Magneton, and I feel like I'm forgetting one other thing. Oh, Nidoqueen. Yeah, I had a Nidoqueen. That was my team. This was honestly like one of the best games I played. I just picked up Gold again, so I'm kind of used to like the old graphics and everything. But yeah, I honestly do like it. Red and blue are gonna go in like a lower B slot, if that makes sense. All right, next we got on the agenda is Sword and Shield. Let's talk about these games. These came out, what, 2020? So, couple years back, 5 years now. I like Sword and Shield. I picked up Sword as my first time. I played Shield later. Who did I pick as my starter? Sobble. Yeah, that was it. I had, what's his name? James Pond. Yeah. I had the frog thing. He was, the game was solid. I did like the open world concept. This was the kind of the first game that had it, where Pokemon were like just out in the wild. You could just go encounter them whenever you wanted, and they would respawn like once a day for the static encounters. Pretty solid. I had my Inteleon, an Aegislash, Sizzlipede, or no, Centiskorch is the evolved version. Why am I blanking with all of my teams? But yeah, Sword and Shield was good. Storyline, it was okay. The other thing too that bothered me. So, like I said, my first game was Pokemon Pearl. If you looked at Diamond and Pearl's map, it was a maze, man. You would start here, and then you would go to this town that was over here, and then back here, and then you'd find yourself back here. And it was this huge map. Sword and Shield in every other game, it is a straight shot. Like, you start on Route 1, Route 2 is ahead of you, then Route 3 is ahead of you. There is no circling back to previous points. Whatever that big town is in Sword and Shield, that is the only consistency of coming back and forth, to go see it, to see a town or whatever. Like I said, it's just gonna have to go in like a high C. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I have another opinion on these games. So like I said 4 times now, Diamond and Pearl was my first favorite games. That's just the way it's going to be. When they remade Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I was so excited for this because I was like, they're remaking a game. My first game, I played this when I was like 5. And then I saw them and they were so bad, so glitchy, so laggy. And I got soft locked first time playing it. Fun fact, I was in Eterna City, and if you walk in front of this NPC, it will just block you and then never move. So I had to reset the game. I didn't like the Cherubi art style, whatever it was called. That's a Pokemon, I think. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you're the first ones that are going in D. It was the same game from when I was 5, but just worse. Oh, Legends Arceus is next. Yo, we gotta talk about this. Legends Arceus was probably top 3 of the best Pokemon games I have ever played. They changed the mechanics of how you play Pokemon, and it was so fun. The bosses were great. Going out into the world and just being able to just craft a Pokeball and then snipe someone with it and add them to your team. Alpha Pokemon were great. I love the story. I loved at the end. Well, actually, no, I hated it at the end, but I love it now. With Volo, and you know how you get to go through his Cynthia team, the same music starts playing, and then he has Giratina at the end. This is going to go in S2. It's above Platinum. As you can see, there's kind of a theme here. Sinnoh's my favorite. Yellow, kind of like Red and Blue, but a little worse. I remember playing this. I only had Pikachu. It was the exact same as Red and Blue, just kind of worse. It's going to go in D. Silver and Crystal. You guys can go in C. I'm not going to lie. Ruby and Sapphire. I already talked to you guys about this. I played this after I played Gen 4, so it was kind of like going back and forth. I love these games. They'll always hold a special place in my heart. Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. I played Sapphire, caught Kyogre, and then played Emerald, and it was so fun. These guys are going to go in A. Come on, mouse. Emerald, I know it's a better thing, but it's going to go in B. Coliseum, it was okay. You can go in D. Fire Red and Leaf Green, A. They're just like the original Kanto games, but better. They're just better Kanto games. Coliseum I didn't like. Listen, call me out if you want, but I played the game, and I remember I got to that part with the desert, and I couldn't find the key. So I just kind of got angry. You're the first one that's actually going to go in F. And the Scarlet Violet, last one, let's talk about this real quick. Scarlet and Violet was the most recent game for Pokemon to come out, and by recent I mean it probably came out 2 years ago. I love these games so much. I have no words for them. They're just almost perfect. They had great Pokemon, a great storyline. You got to see Arvin and his dog like reconnect. Oh, it was beautiful. I had a great team, great evolutions, great way to find Pokemon. They're all spread out. Shinies too. Oh my, dude, Scarlet and Violet was the first game where I had like boxes on boxes on boxes of shinies. It's not even a joke. There's so many ways you can get shinies in the game. This one's gonna have to go in S too. All right, and that's the last one. If you liked my list, subscribe, do whatever you need to do, and yeah, we'll see y'all in the next one. But I think this is a pretty fair list, if I do say so myself. If you got any disagreements or anything you would like to add, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I appreciate it.